From his incredible 8-fight win streak to his deadly wrestling skills that leaves his opponents stunned. Here's why other UFC fighters are scared of Aljamain Sterling, starting with his unbeatable record in pro MMA. New York's own bantamweight champion and has been compared to the greatest of all time, Jon Jones. During his days as a wrestler, the American mixed martial artist was known for his excellent scrambling ability, as well as his ability to pass legs. But it's in the world of the mixed martial arts that's truly found a home. Fighting in the UFC has brought out the best of his skills as an outside shooter, which is just one reason why fighters are terrified of sharing the ring with this guy. The lanky, kick-happy fighter is also known for his incredible grappling skills. Aljamain's an expert when it comes to swift, long penetration shots for his head inside single leg technique. And one of those reasons why his fights always end well for him is that his grappling attacks are straight up unbeatable. The Funkmaster has a record of 22 wins with a 55% finish rate, which includes 3 wins via technical knockouts, 8 by submission, and 10 via decision. His 8-fight win streak was one for the books. His excellent kickboxing skills, along with his mastery of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is another reason why very few fighters dare to go one-on-one with him. I mean, this is the guy who displayed his full set of skills in his very own fight. Who wouldn't be scared of him? The tough scrapper made his debut in professional MMA against Sergio Da Silva in April 2011 while he was fighting on the regional circuit. Boy, was that a fight. Aljamain was new to the scene and just starting out. Fight night finally came along and the world saw just what Sterling had to offer. He made brilliant use of his wrestling expertise, as well as his ground and pound techniques to take Silva down. Time and time again, he didn't let go of control during the entire fight, defending himself against Sergio's attacks and continuing the pace of the bout. The Funkmaster landed some pretty powerful strikes from the dominant position, and despite a couple of good blows from his opponent in the final round, was able to win via unanimous decision. Before this fight, Sergio Da Silva had a 0-1-0 pro MMA record, but Aljamain Sterling was only getting started. In his debut in the world's biggest MMA promotion, the UFC, the New York fighter was paired up against Cody Gibson in February 2014. The two were all set to fight in the preliminary card of UFC 170, Rousey vs. McMahon, and all his fans were sitting on the edge of their seats waiting for a thrilling fight. Sterling had 8 straight wins by then, and that's a huge thing for any fighter, let alone a beginner like him. Now this was his debut at the UFC, and the stakes were high. This was Sterling's chance to prove himself, and he did just that. He dominated the entire fight with his terrifying wrestling skills, and took Cody down at will whenever he wanted. He went on to control the fight from the canvas. He showcased his amazing striking skills by landing powerful punches and kicks throughout the fight. It was legendary. Needless to say, the judges were impressed, and all 3 of them scored the fight 29-28 in his favor. The Funkmaster won that fight via unanimous decision, and this was the fight that earned him the respect of other fighters in the promotion. Fighters were already hesitating getting into the octagon with this bantamweight contender, and then he went on to defeat the previously unbeaten MMA icon, Brett Johns. That was unbelievable. It was at UFC Fight Night 128, Barboza vs. Lee, taking place in Las Vegas, Nevada, in April 2018, that Aljamain became the first man to beat Brett Johns. Brett had a record of 15 wins in a row before this, and Sterling was understandably a little shaky. He held his own though, and he did so brilliantly. He went into the fight cool as a cucumber, and showcased his well-rounded game, with his grappling and striking skills on full display. The pro fighter was able to land some pretty serious strikes and takedowns, and control the pace as well as the positions throughout the fight. Brett was no amateur, and he tried to use his strong defensive grappling skills, but Sterling was always one step ahead. He's one of the cleverest players in the game, and maybe that's why fighters have nightmares about being in the ring with him. Either way, he was able to maintain his dominant position and ended up emerging victorious in the 3rd round via unanimous decision. All the judges scored 30-27 in his favor. This was one of his best fights to date, and by now, fighters were pretty scared of him and his arsenal of deadly skills in the ring. And that's when he went up a step further and decided to aim for the UFC Bantamweight Championship. This was Aljamain's first UFC Championship fight, and all of us MMA fans were gripped with excitement. I think we all know that a fighter's first UFC championship bout is what makes or breaks him in the MMA world. And this was that moment for the Funkmaster. His fight with Peter Yan was scheduled to be in March 2021 at UFC 259, Blachowicz vs. Adesanya. So how did this fight go? Let's break it down. It was the first round that ended up being the determining factor in this fight, which began with Aljamain landing a sharp kick on Peter, right off the bat, which he then followed up with a glancing kick in the same place. The Funkmaster danced just outside of his opponent's range and landed yet another leg kick, but his next one was blocked by Yan. Peter was no beginner either. After all, he was the reigning bantamweight champion. He hit a swift right jab, but Aljamain did a bang-up job of staying at the edge of his opponent's punches. He went on to make good use of a front kick to the body to keep Yan at bay. It was a bloodbath. The American fighter was caught with an overhand left. But other than that, Yan couldn't really land a single solid punch. Sterling unleashed a flurry of pitter-patter punches to the body and tried to set up a takedown attempt, which was rebuffed by his foe. The round ended with big punches from the both of them, and it might have looked like the fight was leaning in Yan's favor, but the second round changed all that. The action clearly shifted in Aljamain's favor in this round. He brought his hyper-aggressive side and landed lightning-fast kicks to Yan's body. Before attempting another couple of takedowns, he disbalanced his foe with a single leg and drove him to the fence, after which he instantly went on to fully mount him. Peter turned over, and then it was human backpack time, which went on for the entirety of the round. The Funkmaster maintained a body triangle and threw some powerful punches to the body, as well as the side of Yan's head, after which he threatened with a rear naked choke. With less than 2 minutes left in the round, the American fighter landed some hefty punches from the dominant position. Peter tried to resist them, but a lot of those shots found their target. Round 3 was more or less the same. The Russian mixed martial artist came out swinging, but Sterling hit him with a stunning counter left and a perfectly timed single leg, which he switched with a double to get the takedown. He went on to back control again, and even though Peter did a good job for defending himself in this round, he couldn't avoid getting hit with a couple of deadly shots on the ground. Now, Aljamain was feeling himself. He had the control in the fight, and he was not afraid to take advantage of that. Aljamain was determined to win. His crazy, unrelenting determination is one of the reasons why he's one of the greatest fighters in the UFC history, and he proved that by landing an uppercut on Yan with stunning precision. While Peter tried to defend himself, his energy was running out, and Sterling got himself the upper hand. The Russian fighter tried to defend himself and even used a couple of dirty boxing techniques to score points, but Sterling blocked his jumping knee with a left hand and landed another left and a kick to the body, and the fight went to the canvas. Funnily enough, it was Yan who ended the fight by hanging off of Aljamain's back. He threw an illegal knee strike to his opponent's head while the two were grounded, and the ref stepped in to stop the fight, after which he declared Sterling the winner due to the illegal move by the Russian fighter. And that's when Aljamain Sterling earned the crown for the Bantamweight Championship. Even though the fight ended due to Yan's illegal move, Aljamain's endurance and skills during this fight were insane. He proved himself the champion and became one of the most feared opponents in the promotion with this win. So, from his deadly wrestling skills to his incredible 8-fight winning streak, these were all the reasons why other UFC fighters are scared of Aljamain Sterling.